I don't know about you, but I paid $550 a piece for my Odyssey start batteries in my bus. And I want them to last a long time. And being I'm a technician and a master tech, I know a little bit about batteries from my experience over the last 45 years. So you can't keep a battery on a battery tender all the time. It will ruin about 2/3 of the life of the battery. So that's off the list. You just can't keep a battery tender on there all the time. Secondly, you don't want it to be in a constant state of discharge and then charge, discharge and then charge. You're just going to, use up all the cycles and the life of the battery. So a good battery should last 10 years, easy. So you have to disconnect them. And disconnecting the batteries over, and what a pain in the butt. Every time when you start your bus, you got to go out there and connect the batteries, and then you got to remember to disconnect the batteries. And they're not designed either to be connected and disconnected, connected and disconnected. So, what is the solution? Well, the solution for me is installing a marine grade Blue Seas relay, a battery isolation disconnect relay, one that's rated at 700 amps. My bus on startup will do 350 amps. So the 700 peak amps, 500 continuous amps that this relay provides me is more than adequate. I mean, we should be more than adequate for most applications. So that allows me to, with a button on the dash, just turn the relay on and off. Let's take a minute and talk about that though for a second, because it's important to understand when you're looking for a relay or you're going to decide to go that route, is you want a latching relay. And what I mean by that is most relays require power to be in a on or off state. So if you're going to have the relay if it's normally open or normally closed, and you won't want it to be in an open state, it's going to require power for that. And you don't want to use power on your battery isolation relay. So you want it to be a latching style where it doesn't require power once it's been latched via power. So that's important. Battery tenders, just a quick note on battery tenders. The reason battery tenders are no good is they float the voltage way too high. And that constant 13.5 volts or greater over just a year just decimates the battery. It needs to come down to a relaxed voltage, for whatever that voltage may be. For acid battery versus lithium, it's different. So let me show you the switch, and then I'll take you outside. So I'm going to swing you around here. Siri, color 2. So down there is the switch, and the guard it can slide back and forth, and so that's off. And if I slide the guard down, which protects you from accidentally hitting the off position, and say you were driving down the road. So if I turn it on, the dash will power up, the scan gauge will power up, everything will power up, even though the key is off. This is where the term parasitic draw gets thrown around. It's not really parasitic draw. This is actual current being used by the body controller, the ECU, whatever other things that just go to sleep and don't actually turn off. And so they're constantly consuming energy. So when people say, I've got a parasitic draw on my battery, so, well, you may, but that's actually a circuit fault. What's more likely is that you have is that you have a real legitimate reason for the current to be used, and it is by design, and it's just the nature of the beast, and therefore there's nothing to fix, right? And so since there's nothing to fix, it's not broken, and at the end of the day, you've got to disconnect your batteries to keep them from that constant discharge state. Excuse me. Because you don't want them in a constant discharge state. You want them to just kind of stabilize and hang out. So I'm going to flick you around again one more time, and I'm going to talk to you about my battery charger really quick. So I'm just running Genius, and it's a dual battery charger. So there's dual batteries in the startup compartment outside, and so that manages both of those batteries independently. And you may notice that my whole bus is voice controlled, and so I can tell Siri, turn on the battery charger, and Siri will turn on this battery charger. But she actually has a routine that she goes through every Sunday and turns on the battery charger for Siri, battery charger on. And every Sunday she'll turn it on for a little bit, and there it goes. Thank you. And make sure that the batteries are all charged up, and then she'll turn them back off. So I never have to think about the batteries. I isolate them with the switch, and then the battery charger, just make sure they're always completely charged and ready to go. Excuse this whole mess. This is temporary before I get my solar installed, but I needed a board to put stuff on, so it was reasonably organized, and I had emergency services available to me right here. So that's what all that is. There's a metal bar that goes across here, and these connections are so close. I didn't want a bee just attacked my head. I didn't want anything coming in contact. So here's the you can't really see it. There's a better shot of it. There's the relay, and it has a bypass there, so you can a mechanical bypass. So you can bypass the relay. It's quite large. It's about 6 inches tall, and of course it has really big lugs for the 500 amp. And of course they're not easy to install because these wires don't bend, and you've got to kind of go with the flow. So that's the situation I came up with, and I have a bunch of extra sensors and stuff in here. But yeah, so there you go. Siri color 3. So I think that pretty much wraps it up. We know that we don't want our battery on a battery tender all the time, because that's just going to torture it and float the voltage too high and shorten its life dramatically. We don't want the battery discharging and charging all the time. So we need to disconnect the battery from the vehicle, because it's going to be constantly drawing energy from it. And we want an easy way to do that, like a button on the dash. So there you go. I really feel this is the best solution, and you'll really enjoy having this setup or something similar to it. And yeah, so that's it. Thank you so much for checking out my video, and I look forward to the next one. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.